pensions. We do not have a quorum right now, so when we do, we're going to stop and go into executive session because we've got 4 bills to exec. So once I get a quorum here, because I think it may be tough to keep a quorum in here today. And so we're going to begin then with the hearing, and we'll begin hearing House Bill 1790 from Representative Murphy. Representative Murphy, if I get a quorum at some point, I will probably exec. So whenever you're ready, please begin.
We'll make it pithy. State Representative Jim Murphy, representing House District 94, South St. Louis County. Today, presenting House Bill 1790. I call this the truth in ballot language bill. Basically, there are 4 parts to this bill. The first part is what I call the Hancock fix. Hancock has had a loophole that we discovered this last assessment period. And what Hancock does is whenever the assessments go up, you have to lower the levies so that they are basically equal. They get to keep inflation, but that's it. But there's an exception in Hancock saying that a year that you pass a levy on the ballot, you don't have to roll back. Now that makes sense in normal times, but last assessment period in our area, assessments went up 18%. For example, one of the school districts had a 30-cent levy put on the ballot. So that exempted them from having to roll back the 18%. So anyway, they got a windfall that amounted to 92 cents. All this amendment does is say that in that situation, you have to roll back. You can keep what you put on the ballot, but all other rules would apply. We found that not all school districts did that. Like for my area, the Melville district kept 92 cents. The Afton district rolled back. They said it wasn't fair to their constituents. And they all should have done that. But since they didn't, we're just putting a fix in law that says, that fixes the hole in Hancock. The second provision is a sunset provision. When a ballot measure is put on the ballot and says that this shall expire at X date or when this is paid off or whatever, it's meaningful. What's happened in some districts is when they pass another levy and they say now the levy will be X, they say that sunset no longer applies, even though nobody realized that. So all this says is that if you put a ballot measure on that will affect a previous sunset, you just have to state it in the ballot language saying, by the way, if you pass this, the previous sunset will go away. It's just truth in lending. The third measure is just a way that you would express the cost of a tax levy, saying that it would cost X dollars per $100,000 in valuation, rather than a percentage. It just clarifies it for the voters, saying that this is $2 per 100,000 rather than a 2% increase. And the last part was a very simple thing. It's been put on this bill for 3 years, going back to Jay Eggleston, saying that you have to label the ballot languages A, B, C, D. And there was been controversy on this, but we finally got the clerks to give us language they like. So this is their language. And you can put in the ballot language, this will save our children. You can say whatever you want in that, but just that the ballot itself will be Prop A, Prop B, Prop C, and so forth. It won't be Prop Save My Puppy. And that's all that does.
I think what we're going to do before, if you'll just stay there, or if you want to go aside for a minute, we're going to go ahead and come back to this. Alex, would you please take the roll?
Henderson?
Here.
Berger?
Here.
Bass? Here. Black? Here. Crocker? Here. Nicola? Here. Nurnberg?
Okay, a quorum has been established, so that I make a motion that we go into executive session. Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? And the ayes have it. We're in executive session. We have 4 bills we're going to exec out today that we heard. The first one is House Committee Substitute for House Bill 1768 and 2060. I move that we take up House Committee Substitute for House Bill 1768 and 2060. Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? And the ayes have it. This is Representative Brown's bill we heard last week on short-term rentals. The change made in the substitute mirror the changes made in the floor sub for 1066 and 1088, plus some agreed language for the Hotel Association, some other changes committee members asked for. And we do have a committee substitute ending in .04C, and I move that we adopt the substitute. Do I have a second? Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. And the ayes have it. I now move that we vote House Committee Substitute for House Bill 1768 and 2060 with Senate Committee Substitute out of committee do pass. Do I have a second? Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, Alex, please call the roll.
Henderson,
Aye.
Berger. Aye. Beck. Black. Aye. Bratton, Crawford. Nicola. Aye. Nernberg.
By your vote of 6-0, you have do pass House Committee Substitute for House Bill 1768 and 2060 with a Senate substitute. I now move that we take up House Bill 1867. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? And the ayes have it. This is Representative Roberts' bill we heard last week for a guest transient tax for Joplin. There is a substitute. We have changed the title of this bill to local tourism. The new language includes Senate Bill 1466 for Senator Berger, Senate Bill 1551 for Senator Black, Senate Bill 1574 for Senator Crawford, and Senate Bill 1646 of mine, and House Bill 2057 of Representative Vernetti. Every bill has had a committee hearing and has been voted out of committee with one exception. That is Senate Bill 1574, Senator Crawford's bill to add Henry County to the list of counties who may impose a sales tax for funding museums. Also, please note that mine didn't go through this committee. The rest did. It was heard in Eco Devo and was voted out of Eco Devo. And we do have a committee substituting .3C, and I move that we adopt the substitute. Do I have a second? Second. Is there any discussion on the substitute? Seeing none. All those in favor of adopting the substitute say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. And the ayes have it. I now move that we vote House Bill 1867 with Senate Committee substitute out of committee do pass. Do I have a second? Second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Alex, please call the roll.
Henderson,
Aye.
Berger. Aye.
By your vote of 6-aye, you have voted out House Bill 1867 with a Senate Committee substitute. We will now go to House Committee substitute for House Bill 1871. I move that we take up House Committee substitute for 1871. Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? And the ayes appear to have it. This is Representative McGaugh's election bill we heard last week. The substitute includes the agreed-upon polling distance language. And Senator Crawford, do you have anything you would like to add?
This was actually an agreement between Senator Nicola and Senator Beck, so they on the polling language part, so
Okay.
they may want to chime in on that.
Any discussion? Senator Beck.
Sure. We had a lengthy discussion with Senator Nicola. He's good enough to let the language go through on this bill. That's what our conversation was. I don't know if he's crazy about it, but actually after we explained it, that your election authority will be able to pick or choose which one, he was fine with it. I don't want to speak for him, but that's what he had mentioned. And Senator Lewis, she originally had some issues with it too. So.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Senator Beck did a great job.
Okay, so we established that. Okay, we do have a committee substitute ending in .05C, and I move that we adopt the substitute. Do I have a second? Second. Is there any discussion on the substitute? All those in favor of adopting a substitute, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. And the ayes have it. I now move that we vote House Committee substitute for House Bill 1871 with a Senate Committee substitute out of committee do pass. Do I have a second? Second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Alex, please call the roll.
Henderson.
Aye.
Berger.
Okay, by your vote of 6-0, you have do pass a House Committee substitute for House Bill 1871 with a Senate Committee substitute. We now will go to House Committee substitute for House Bill 2384. I move that we take up House Committee substitute for House Bill 2384. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. And the ayes appear to have it. This is the bill we heard last week dealing with the application for property development. Is there any discussion on the underlying bill? Seeing none. We do have a committee substitute ending in 04C. The substitute removes the single exit provision, and I move that we adopt the substitute. Do I have a second? Is there any discussion on the substitute?
I have an amendment, and I move for its adoption.
Okay, do I have a second on the amendment? Second. Okay, we have a second. Senator Berger, please explain the amendment.
Basically, it takes out commercial and industrial and just moves on for all new residential homes and moves the date from 2009, or the year from 2009 to 2012. I did talk with the House sponsor, who's in the audience right here, and he was okay with this amendment. And I think it's kind of a win for everybody.
Discussion on the amendment.
Is this now Kansas City only?
What's that now? I'm sorry.
Is this Kansas City only, or is it statewide?
I think this is Kansas City.
Statewide, isn't it?
Statewide? Still statewide? Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor of adopting the committee amendment, say aye. 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 Those opposed, say no. And the ayes appear to have it. I now move that we adopt the committee substitute as amended. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor of adopting the committee substitute as amended, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. And the ayes appear to have it. I now move that we vote House Committee substitute for House Bill 2384 with Senate Committee substitute as amended out of committee. Do pass. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any final discussion? Seeing none. Alex, please call the roll.
Henderson.
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Beck.
No.
Black. Bratton. Crawford. Nicola. Nurburn.
By your vote of 5-1, you have do passed. House Committee substitute for House Bill 2384 with a Senate amendment. And I make a motion that we go out of executive session. Do I have a second? All those in favor? Say aye. All those opposed? And we're out of executive session. Now, we are back to you, Representative Murphy.
Welcome back.
And I got to remember your bill again a little bit.
It was 1790.
So I had one question.
Yep.
And my question was, on that ballot language, say I'm putting a bond issue on, I'm a local school district.
Right.
They could still call it Proposition Kids, as an example. Like we used to use that for Keep Improving District Schools, but it would be Proposition A.
Be Proposition A, but in the ballot language, you could say this Proposition Kid. You know, you can put it that right in the ballot language. Just it'll just be A as the prop number.
So the language should only be A, B, C, or D. Is that correct?
No, well, it can go to Z depending on
Yeah.
how many there. Yeah.
Okay. Other questions for the representative, Senator Crawford?
really more of a comment. I like a lot of the stuff in your bill. One of the things I've been working on the property tax issue all session, one of the things that was brought to me was some language, I think, that just clarifies that the election authorities, if this crosses jurisdictions,
Yeah.
it lets the election authorities talk to each other to get that figured out.
Yeah,
so they
this
can all
was,
be
the
same.
clerks came up with this language, and they say that it handles that problem.
Okay, all right. I think we may have put some additional language in what I'm going to maybe have on the floor too. I can't remember if we
Yeah, when
specified
this
it, we talked
originally
about
came
it.
out, there was a lot of questions of that. So I,
'Cause that makes
I said,
sense.
well, I tell you what, you tell me how to write this, and they brought it to me, and they said this covers everything.
Right,
So-
that way, if it's, I have a lot of school districts that cross different lines,
Right.
that way they can get together and name it the same proposition or whatever on both sides, both counties
Yeah.
or whatever, so.
That was a true concern when we started,
Right.
and this apparently takes care of that.
All right, very
Okay.
good, thank you.
Other questions? Senator Beck?
Yeah, and just want to be clear, so they can still pick the proposition letter, or does it has to be A, B, or C? So like, could a political subdivision of fire district?
It could be
pick
any
F?
letter.
They
It
can
does-
pick any letter they
It
want?
doesn't have to start with A, it doesn't have to start with Z.
The political subdivision
Like
can
if it's
pick
a
the letter?
police one, it could be Prop P.
Okay, so okay. So the political subdivision can pick the letter?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Anybody here to testify in support? Please come forward. Okay? Seeing none. Anybody in opposition? Seeing none. Anybody for informational purposes only? Seeing none. Representative, you have anything?
Y'all have a wonderful day.
Thank you. And that will end our hearing on House Bill 1790. We will now go to House Bill 3000. Representative Perkins, please come forward and begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chad Perkins. I represent Pike and Lincoln County in the House. Everybody says their bill's simple. House Bill 3000 really is very simple. It deals with the auditing of political subdivisions, whether that's cities, counties, fire districts, ambulance districts, school districts, whatever it may be. Currently, you have to get a certain number of signatures on a piece of paper and so forth. If there is a census that takes place in that year time period, if your population grows, you have to then go back and get additional signatures. All we're doing in House Bill 3000 is saying the population that it was on the day that you started getting your signatures is what it would be when you turn it in. So your goalpost doesn't move. You can turn in the amount that was required the day you started. We did add an additional amendment on the floor. I believe it was the senator's bill, the chairman's bill, regarding fire departments and the way they sell their equipment. There was some language added into it regarding the auditing of fire departments. There was no opposition to that from the fire districts either. The bill passed unanimously in rules, unanimously in committee, 149 to 1 on the floor. Feel pretty good about the bill. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions for the representative? Seeing none. Oh, excuse me, Senator Berger.
One no vote.
Yes, Senator. It passed 149 to Representative Wolfen. So,
Shocker, shocker.
yeah.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Anybody here to testify in support? Please come forward and begin when you're ready. Turn in your witness form, please.
Good 5 days after the election, and in doing so, their signature threshold changed. In this case, it was favorable. It dropped it by 1,000 signatures that they needed to get to successfully request a petition audit from us. But what we want to prevent in the future is the inverse of that situation happening, where a petitioner circulates for 11 months and 3 weeks, and they turn it in thinking they have enough, but by virtue of turning it in after the election, the signature threshold changes on them. So this would just be a line in the sand. They come to us to start the process. That's going to be the number they need throughout the process. It's not going to change on them. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else to testify in support? Please come forward.
Mr. Chairman, Senators, David Clarich testifying in behalf of the legislation, House Bill 3000. Thank you, Representative.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Anybody else to testify in support? Seeing none. Anybody to testify in opposition? Seeing none. Anybody for informational purposes only? Seeing none. Representative, you're recognized closed.
Thank you for your consideration. Thank you.
That will conclude our hearing on House Bill 3000. Next up will be, let me see, is Danny? Oh, he is. House Bill 1825. Representative Busick, please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Committee. Appreciate you bringing this bill forward. My name is Representative Danny Busick. I represent all of Mercer County, Sullivan County, Putnam County, and about 75% of Adair County. House Bill 1825 is basically a statutory fix. Over the years, there is what we call the Salary Commission, and if you want to know more about that, I can explain a little bit more, but basically the Salary Commission in the counties is made up of all the elected officials, and they vote on setting the salaries for the officials in that county. Now, over the years, the sheriff's salary has been taken out of influence of the Salary Commission, and also the prosecutors are no longer a part of the Salary Commission. So what this bill does is remove those two from their statutory requirement to be on the Salary Commission. And there was an amendment on this bill that was placed on this bill on the House floor because there was a carve out when the sheriff's salaries was changed because the Boone County Sheriff did not want to be a part of the new statute. And so Representative Tyson Smith brought an amendment to the bill to remove the Boone County, for the Boone County Sheriff to remain on the Salary Commission. And also there's 19 counties that have part-time prosecutors, and they are still a part of the Salary Commission, and so they need to remain. But on that amendment, there was a drafting error, and we do need to fix that on this bill. The wording assistant prosecutors was put on there instead of part-time prosecutors, and so we need to change that if we could request of the committee to make that drafting change. And so I apologize for not catching that in the House, but that's what happened. But we'd also like to request a Senate committee substitute, and we'd like to include House Bill 3496 and its provisions. This is a bill brought by Representative Reedy, and it will be heard on the floor this coming week likely. But it basically is a restructuring of the base salary of the elected officials. It's been since the mid-90s since this scale was adjusted. This is set by statute, and the salaries, the base salaries for the elected officials are set by total assessment of the county. So as the county's assessment is larger, the base load work is larger, and therefore the salaries are larger. And so the Missouri Association of Counties has had a task force for the last couple of years that have been studying this, and this bill recommends some changes to that baseline salaries. It will not raise their salaries. That still would have to be voted on by the Salary Commission. So if you're an elected official and your salary is below the minimum salary, your salary will not automatically go up. It'll have to still be done by the local officials and the local governing body to raise that salary. So it's not a raise for those salaries. But I think this is something that needs to be done. And then there's also a third thing that we would like to ask in the Senate committee substitute. There's some counties in Senator Crawford's district and also Senator Curtis Gregory's district that are going to be changing classification, and they're expected to do that at the beginning of next year. But with some fixes we'd like to put in this committee. It allows them more time to make those changes. It gives them 4 years to make those adjustments from going from a fourth-class county to a third-class county. And so that's some of the provisions that we'd like to ask the Senate committee to put into a Senate substitute. And this bill, 1825, my original bill I talked about, it passed the House with no opposition. And so if you have any questions, I would be glad to answer those.
Okay, questions for the witness. Senator Crawford.
I actually just wanted to explain a little bit about the piece, the classification change. This happened when it was too late to file a bill, and it happened to Pettis County along with some of Senator Gregory's counties. And basically, they just are expected to, like, I think within 7 months, change from one classification to the other. Well, there's a lot to it that needs to happen. For instance, third-class counties don't have an auditor. Well, these counties do have an auditor. So there needs to be some kind of a lead time to get all that worked out, and that's what that piece does. I just kind of wanted to give a little bit more context on that piece of it.
Senator Berger.
Representative, how are the prosecuting attorney's salaries adjusted if they're taken out of the salary commission?
Pardon me, repeat that for me.
How are the prosecuting attorney's salaries adjusted if they're taken out of the salary commission?
You're talking about the full-time prosecutors? Okay, they are associated and linked to the associate circuit judge's salary, and it's by a percentage by assessed valuation.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Representative, I hope you're aware of this. We were asked to try to exec this on the same day. There were some people wanting to get this bill moving, so you talked about a committee sub. We won't be able to do that, so our choice is really, and I want to make this clear to the committee, is if we vote it out today, then we'd probably have, who's the handler in the Senate?
Senator Crawford.
So I guess while we're in here, I'm going to say, are you okay when we do the substitute on the floor?
Yes. I think the big thing is that we needed to discuss some of those things that hadn't been discussed, especially that county classification things. That's the one thing I want to make sure was brought out, and we needed to discuss it. So it's not in this bill, but that's we need to put it in there to fix it.
So the question was, I was asked to try to exec this in the same day. Are you comfortable doing that, or would you prefer us to wait and bring a committee sub? Since you're going to be the handler, Senator Crawford, I'm going to probably defer to you a little bit.
Maybe defer to the committee. I mean, it is some new language. I would like some input on the committee. I would like to do a sub that takes in all this stuff that we've talked about when it does hit the floor, but I guess I would be at the committee's discretion.
Okay, now the sub of this bill was sent out to everybody, but I don't know if it's got, were you talking on the original bill, or do you know the sub we sent out?
I have the sub that we sent out here.
He explained the sub. I think he went through what's in the sub.
But you think we still have some things we have to change?
No, I think what he explained is what we
Okay.
want in the sub.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that's
Okay, I
correct.
got it. I want to make sure everybody was clear on what we've got then. Okay, any other questions for this witness? Seeing none. Anybody here to testify in support, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, Steve Hobbs, Missouri Association of Counties, here to testify in support of this language the gentleman has brought forward. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none. You must have been really good. Anybody else here to testify in support? Anybody in opposition? Anybody for informational purposes only? Seeing none. Should we go ahead and exec? Okay. Anything you have? We're going to just exec both these two that we've got at the end. Anything else to add?
Well, I think all this is good statutory language that we need to include, and I would appreciate the committee's support on it. Thank you very much.
Okay, that will conclude the hearing on House Bill 1825. Next bill up will be House Bill 2898 from Representative Owens. Representative, whenever you're ready, please begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Bill Owens, State Representative, 131st District of Northern and Western Greene County. I appreciate the opportunity to come and visit with you about 2898. In fact, coming up here, I was thinking about that great Missouri philosopher, Yogi Berra, who said, "It's deja vu all over again." You have seen this bill this year. You saw this bill in this committee 2 years ago when we passed it to the governor. He signed it into law, and it remained in law for about a year until the Cole County Circuit Court pulled it out because of an amendment that was put on the bill dealing with chicken coops and saying that it was extra topical and the language is no longer in effect. This is the land bank bill. This is to create land banks around the state. There's been a lot of talk about the actual land bank and its ability to repurpose. What really hasn't been talked about much is the Chapter 141 eligibility to be able to allow really problem properties to get cleaned up. I'm told in the city of St. Louis there are over 20,000 parcels of land that nobody bids on, has no interest in because of all the clouds on the title, liens, back taxes, all the different issues. What Chapter 141 does, unlike traditional tax sales, which is in Chapter 140, is that you treat it more like a bank foreclosure sale on a mortgage, where when you come out of that foreclosure, you have clean, fee simple title. This will allow the private sector to come back in and take over these properties and repurpose them. This is on the residential side, not commercial, just residential side. Repurpose them and get these things back up and running, and to where, quite frankly, you have an owner who is paying taxes regularly on the property. The other issue is that both Greene County and St. Louis County were well on their way to establishing their land banks, and were contacted by a major foundation in this state, asked them what they estimated their costs would be for the first 2 years operation of the land bank. They gave them that information, and both were awarded grants that are just sitting out there because this is in limbo because the courts took the legislation out of the statutes. And so by passing this, you will help really kickstart St. Louis County and Greene County to move forward on their land banks. Again, you've heard these bills for several years. I'll just stop there and just answer any questions that you might have, Mr. Chairman.
And Representative, isn't this the same language that Senator Huff has in his?
It is. That's right. It's the exact same language. Now, this bill has nothing else on it. I mean, this is a clean bill. I believe Senator Huff's now is over in the House, and it's been put on Senator Schnelting's bill. So it's a little more controversial because of the two different issues. But this is a clean bill, and if we can keep it that way, we won't have any issues with the courts this time.
Senator Nicola.
Thank you, Representative. I've got a couple questions. Page 2, line 9 and 10. Excuse me. It's the line that's striked out, that unpaid tax bill for a period of at least 2 years after that date on which it became delinquent. Why is that struck?
The reason is we want to get these, when it becomes patently obvious to the collector that nobody's interested in this property, that it's not going anywhere, and maybe there's been proposed tax sales and they come up and maybe pay the last year just to keep it going. We want to be able, once the decision has been made by the collector, and the collectors are in control of this process, that they decide that it's time to take this Chapter 141, that they don't have to wait 2 or 3 more years, so that it's just 1 year.
Okay, so is this after the normal 3 years unpaid tax bills, or what?
That depends on the situation. It's all in the hands of the collector to decide.
So it could be 1 year, it could be
It could
6
be-
months, it could be 30 days, what?
Well, it has to be
There's
at
gotta
least a year. It has
Yeah,
to be at
that's what-
least,
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
There's got to be at least a time frame on it.
yeah, a year.
1 year of unpaid tax, that's when they can take it over?
Yeah.
Okay, page 13, lines 4, 5, and 6, struck out all the relatives. Why is that?
Just a second, sir, I'm getting to that
Okay.
as we speak. Page 13, okay,
Yeah, lines 4, 5, and 6.
yeah.
The lines that are struck out.
Okay, there were problems with the St. Louis Land Bank in that there were some insider activity. And what we're addressing here, and this was pointed out by the Show Me Institute in their testimony, that you've got insider deals. So we're saying that you've got to be at least 2 degrees of consanguinity apart to be able to bid on any piece of property. So if someone's on the board or if someone works for the land bank, any potential bidder has to be at least 2 degrees of consanguinity away from those people to be able to bid.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Anybody here to testify in support, please come forward, turn in your witness form, and begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Jason Zamkis. I'm a registered lobbyist appearing before you on behalf of the Missouri Realtors Association. We believe that this is an integral tool for local governments to address situations that could create decline within their communities. Simply put, this would just allow for any local government with a population in excess of 1,500 inhabitants or more to create and operate their own land bank for the purposes of taking tax delinquent and abandoned property, clearing the title, and putting them back into productive use through a subsequent transfer. And for that reason, we'd like to go on record in support. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Senator Nicola.
I'd like to ask you the same question I asked the representative. So somebody owns a home, and from what I understand, the representative said they can be 12 months not paying their taxes, and then they can take
No,
over.
sir.
I see you shaking your head.
No. To my understanding, there would have to be a three-year tax delinquency before any of these processes could be put into place.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's been my understanding, and it made me very nervous when...
To clarify, and excuse me, Representative, but to clarify, this would expedite the process through judicial foreclosure, but only after they've been 3 years delinquent.
Right, okay. And so after it's 3 years, what would be the process then? And he was saying it's up to the collector.
It expedites the process through a judicial mechanism to, especially as it relates to oftentimes sewer and water liens that might be on the property, to clear the title so that a subsequent purchaser can go in and know that they're getting a fee simple property that they can go and then rehabilitate to the extent necessary and put back into productive use.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else to testify in support, please come forward.
Chairman and committee members, my name is Pat Kelly, Executive Director of the Municipal League of Metro St. Louis. Just want to go on record in support of House Bill 2898. You've all heard this before, and I really want to thank Representative Owens for bringing this back. This is something that's very important to communities throughout the state of Missouri, but specifically St. Louis County. We talk often about, I'm going to take a little different direction here, but we talk often about how not having affordable housing. Well, there's thousands of homes in St. Louis County that are sitting vacant and unmanaged, and they're not on tax rolls, that if we are able to put this in place, we can get these houses rehabilitated, back on the market, and create a whole new market of affordable housing in our community. So we greatly support or appreciate your support and be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else to testify in support?
Chairman, David Winton here on behalf of St. Louis County. Just want to go on record and support legislation, thank the sponsor, and thank the committee for its time.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Anybody else testify in support, please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and the committee. My name is Laura Holloway with the Missouri Municipal League. Also want to go on record in support. Thank the sponsor for this bill. It's something we've supported and want to see those communities be able to help make their areas productive.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Anybody else in support?
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Will Mars on behalf of the city of Springfield. I just want to go on record in support. And to Representative Owen's point, we have been in limbo since the court decision. That's something that's, this was originally a Springfield bill and has since been expanded by lots of communities that expressed interest. So I just want to thank the sponsor for his support throughout the process.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Anybody else in support? Seeing none. Anybody in opposition? Seeing none. Anybody informational purposes only? Representative Owens, anything in conclusion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just simply to Senator Nicola, people look at the language and read it differently. I was thinking it's 1 year. Apparently, Mr. Zamkus and some others think it's 3 years. I guess we'll have to kind of wade through that and figure out which it is. But I just wanted to explain that I wasn't trying to mislead you in that. That was truly my reading of it. I would say that, this passed out of local government 11-0, third read 139 to 9. I know following the last presenter that looks pretty bad, but I'll take the 139 to 9 anyway. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, that will conclude our public hearing on House Bill 2898. I now make a motion that we go back into executive session. Do I have a second? Have a second. Anybody? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? And we're back in executive session. So let's get this through. The first one is House Bill 1825. I move that we take up House Bill 1825. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. And the ayes have it. This is the county commission bill we just heard. Senator Crawford, anything to add? Okay. Do we have a committee substitute ending in .202C? I move that we adopt the substitute. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oh, excuse me. Any discussion? I should have asked that. Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? And the ayes have it. I now move that we vote House Bill 1825 with Senate committee substitute out of committee do pass. Do I have a second? All those in any discussion? Alex, please call the roll. By your vote of 7-0, you have do passed House Bill 1825 with a Senate committee substitute. Okay, I now move that we take up House Bill 2898. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. No? And the ayes appear to have it. This is the bill we just heard about the land banks. I now move that we vote House Bill 2898 out of committee do pass. Do I have a second? Second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Alex, please call the roll.
Henderson.
By your vote of 6-1, you have do pass House Bill 2898. I make a motion we go out of executive session. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? And the ayes have it. And the committee is adjourned. Oh, I need a second to adjourn. Second. We're adjourned.